Imagine waking up on the morning of your birthday, and instead of that childhood thumping in your chest, you feel a silent heaviness telling you it is just another day. You check your phone, see a few notifications, perhaps reply with a faint smile, and then move on with your routine as if nothing happened. But have you ever asked yourself, why has this day, which is supposed to belong to you alone, become the day you try to disappear most? The truth isn't just that you've grown up or become mature. Behind this emotional nonchalance is a deep psychological story of how you've learned to protect your soul from the disappointments that taught you never to expect anything from anyone. In psychology, birthdays are considered emotional mirrors. They don't just reflect your age, they reflect how you truly feel about being alive, how you relate to attention, and how comfortable you are with being seen. When you say, "I don't care about my birthday," you aren't always expressing a lack of interest. You are often practicing emotional self-protection. Your brain deliberately lowers the bar for expectations to avoid the sting of potential pain. It is a cold trade-off your mind makes, sacrificing joy in exchange for emotional stability, because feeling excitement in the past often led to being forgotten or let down. This behavior is what experts call avoidant validation behavior. It's when you convince yourself you don't need recognition because a part of you fears not receiving it. This pattern often develops in those who learned early in childhood that their emotional needs were inconvenient to the adults around them, or that love was conditional based on what they provided rather than who they were. Consequently, a birthday becomes a psychological danger zone because it is the one day you are supposed to receive love without a transaction, a concept that feels confusing and uncomfortable to a mind wired for survival. If you are the person who carries everyone on your shoulders, or the child who grew up too fast to care for parents or siblings, your birthday likely feels like an emotional burden. Your brain has been programmed to put your own joy second, making you an expert at remembering everyone else's milestones while neglecting your own. For you, becoming the center of attention triggers a sense of shame or guilt, as if you are taking up a space you haven't earned. So you retreat into the shadows where you feel safe and in control. Birthdays also function as checkpoints of consciousness. They trigger temporal self-awareness, that moment where you measure the gap between the person you were a year ago and the person you are now. Sometimes this day is painful, not because of loneliness, but because of the distance between your expectations and your reality, leading you to blur the day entirely to avoid facing yourself in the mirror. Neglecting the occasion isn't apathy. It is an attempt at self-preservation against the heavy weight of time and unmet goals. On a more positive note, some treat their birthday as an ordinary day because they have reached a state of self-concordant motivation. They no longer need the world's applause to validate their worth. For these individuals, joy is no longer tied to a calendar date or a loud party, but to internal harmony and the ability to appreciate small, quiet details every day. They have redefined celebration from a social performance to an inner sanctuary, turning solitude into a sacred moment of gratitude. Yet beneath the calm surface of "it doesn't matter," there often remains a ghost of a childhood voice wishing someone would truly see them without being asked. We never truly outgrow our need for connection. We only become more skilled at hiding it behind masks of independence. Recognizing this contradiction is the beginning of healing. Admitting that you want to be seen is not a weakness. It is a reclamation of your human right to exist outside the framework of tasks and responsibilities. Ultimately, treating your birthday like a normal day is an evolution of awareness that tells you your value does not dim when no one is looking. You can be grateful for your existence in your own way, whether through a solitary walk or a quiet cup of coffee. Remember, you don't need to make a wish because you are the wish, the living continuation of every version of yourself that fought to get you here. The true celebration isn't in the candles, but in the ability to look at yourself and say, I am here and I am enough.